So I ran into a slight issue here that I thought I'd share just because it took a while to go through this thought process and actually think of a way to solve this problem. Here's the problem. I've got this headlight. It's for a motorcycle that I'm restoring. It's got 3 wires on the back, one for ground, one for high beam, one for low beam. They're all black. I have no way of knowing which is which. Looking at the light, you can't really tell which one of the actual metal contacts goes down to which pin. This light didn't seem to come out and I didn't want to pull too hard and break it. So I turned to forums and I wasted a bunch of time on forums trying to see if anyone had run into this issue, and they could tell me, you know, the very top one of the triangle is this, the left one is this, the right one is this. And I wasted a bunch of time doing that, and that resulted in nothing and pretty much just wasted time. So I sat here and thought about how I could sort this out myself, and I can't believe I didn't think of this first, but just in case any of you were beating the head against the wall and didn't think of this as well, here's what I did. Throw on some sunglasses, or I have a welding hood. You know, the headlight's pretty bright, so be careful. Don't damage your eyes. What you're gonna do here is, if you just start connecting these wires 2 at a time to a battery, you're gonna notice something specific that happens. You're gonna get 3 different brightnesses of light. And what that actually is it's the low beam coil coming on, the high beam coil coming on, and then if you actually connect them in a certain way, both of those coils are gonna turn on, even though you don't have the ground connected to anything. Basically, it's just flowing in one coil and in series to the next coil and out that, and simultaneously turning both on. I don't really know if that's the intended way to use it, but I guess there is technically 3 modes here. But what that means is the low beam, when the lowest out of those 3 lights that you see, that's going to mean that you have your ground and your low beam connected to the battery. The medium brightness one, it means you have your ground and your high beam connected to the battery. And the brightest of the 3 light modes means that both coils are on, which means you have high beam connected to one side of the battery and low beam connected to the other side of the battery. So I think you could quickly see there that through a process of elimination, you could figure out which wire is which. But I'll just show you my process of doing it. So I'm going to pick 2 arbitrary wires, the 2 outside ones. You're going to want to pay attention to where they are and maybe mark them with tape or something. But you're going to see that that is a certain amount of brightness, and I hope it comes through on the camera, the differences in brightness, but it might just auto adjust and you won't be able to tell. But this is a good time to mention something else. You see when that cools down, you can see the actual coil that was lit, and it was only 1 coil, it wasn't 2 coils. And I know, based on where that is, but you would know based on how bright it is, that that is the low beam coil. So I've just, one of these must be the low beam wire and one of them must be the ground. Which is which, I don't know. But we'll set these aside and we'll pick up this 3rd one that I haven't touched yet. And let's see what this does, you know, judging either by brightness or which coil turns on. That should help us here. Now, when it was cooling down, I saw that there was still only 1 coil and that it was the forward one instead of the backwards one. So I know that by how bright it was, that that was the high beam. And I had the high beam and the ground connected to the battery. Now, a little bit of process of elimination here. When I had these 2 wires, one of these was the ground and one of them was low beam. When I had these 2 wires, one of them was ground and one of them was the high beam. So just from that, I know that this is ground in my left hand, this is high beam, and this is low beam. Now I wanted to show you real quick that if you actually connect the high beam and the low beam, remember the ground is over here, these will actually still turn on, and it'll be brighter because we're actually turning on both coils. So there it's cooling down. You just saw it, both coils go from red to not red. So that was kind of the issue I was running into, is I figured that if I connected 2 of these wires, the light just wouldn't work. That wasn't the case at all. It just turned on both the high beam and the low beam. So I hope that's helpful. I realize that this only works with this type of light. With an LED, this might actually be a lot easier because the LED is not going to work in the wrong direction. It is unidirectional when this light is bidirectional. You could probably do a similar process there and just see, where it doesn't turn on, figure out pretty quick what's going on. Can't help you there. I don't have an LED headlight, but if you have something like this and black non-distinguishable wires, hopefully this helps you actually decide which wire is supposed to go where in your diagram. Thanks.